It is Brian White Day again, and whether you like it or not, we are going to cover a whole bunch of different stuff today. And some of it, I have to be honest, Brian, it by the time they watch it, it could be like, well, we already knew that and it already changed, or because I'm going to be talking about some newsy kinds of issues. And who knows what the news will have done, 24 hours from now, because we're recording this at 10:40 California time on Monday. But the biggest, well, there was two huge pieces of news today, and one of them would be Q. And
Yes,
we're not
a
talking
single
about
source
bond.
rumor.
We're not
hmm
talking about bond. We're
hmm
talking about cars. Okay, so Q is some kind of a vehicle. Talk to me about
Fabled.
Q.
So I think it was CNEV Post or one of the Chinese publications decided unilaterally that there is a new vehicle coming, is that called the Tesla Q. Right there, that's your first red flag. Biggest red flag is that it's a single source rumor. No, but I read it in 10 places. Yeah, they all got it from the same source, from that one publication. This has all the hallmarks of clickbait.
Hmm.
It doesn't, we've seen nothing that would support it. It could be true, but at this point, there is no reason to believe that one publication alone has the scoop on this. And certainly I just don't see the name being accurate. This feels like something that Tesla themselves might have leaked to that publication under strictest confidence as a test, as a trap to see if they were actually going to take the bait and lose access going forward, because that is how you lose access. Whether this is true or not, this is how you lose access to a company. I don't. The philosophy is simple. Cars in China cost less. They cost less than they cost here. But that's true of Teslas as well. You can get a Model Y for in the neighborhood of 30,000 US in China. Is it as good as the export model? Yes, it's the same car. It's the exact same car. So they already have pretty affordable models. Uh, the idea of building and designing a whole new one while they're on the cusp of solving autonomy and rolling out robotaxi in just a couple of years, they'd be making a car that would have a very short usable lifespan in which to recover all the costs for R&D and develop, and building out the line. I don't buy it. I don't buy it, but I
Okay.
don't buy any single source rumors.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens with that one because it's really kind of a bizarre one hitting on Monday morning. And then I want to talk to you about Optimus. We have not had much new to talk about with regard to Optimus recently, but this morning we saw Optimus walking up various terrains, Brian. I didn't have much of a chance to really look at this and check it out. What did you learn from this little video?
It's fascinating. Oh, but Boston Dynamics did this 10 years ago. Yes, with a gasoline powered drone. This is, uh, if you look, the feet have have directions of, wow, that's amazing. Have it's fascinating because that's something that you would expect a human to do. Uh, the feet can now move, you know, side to side that way. They can pivot. So this allows it to walk on broken terrain. Well, my factory's not going to have that. No, but the world in which you live is, unless we're intending to level, to grade the entire planet, which I'm personally against, I've decided. Uh, this is uh, a small step for robot, but a huge leap for robot kind.
Now, I have to assume that this is 100% autonomous
Of
before
course,
anybody asks the question.
it would have to be. It would
Yeah,
have to be.
there, there's no remote control going on here. This guy is operating fully on his own or her own. I don't know.
Its own, sure.
Right? So, yeah, okay. So this is pretty impressive then.
Yes. And again, well, Tesla's falling behind the other people. Until we see demos, we don't know where they're at. We don't know if this is something that it just mastered yesterday or months ago and they're just now ready to show it. Tesla has begun a pretty wise policy of not showing everything, of keeping their cards close to the vest, I guess,
Hmm.
and not because every time they show something, the competition steps up their game And Tesla is saying they study it frame by frame. We're giving away too much. We are okay with recruiting. We've got the talent we need. We don't need to wow potential candidates the way we used to. So this is great. This is going to work.
All right. And so then in addition to that, I think you posted something the other day about the facility in Reno, the new semi-truck factory, and I didn't see much other than that. Other people weren't talking about. So what did you report there?
So 𝐓𝐮𝐞𝐬𝐝 on X and YouTube is doing the fantastic drone footage out there. He is one of those people who, never did drone work before, but just loves Tesla, loves the philosophy, all of that, gets how exciting it is. So what's going on there? Well, the building's going up very, very quickly. We saw them break ground on it in June, basically. I mean, they'd already graded it, but actual materials started showing up in June. And all of the structure, the main structure is there. They still, as of last week, had a little bit of roofing to finish up and some more wall panels to put up, but that was it.
Wow.
Inside, they have begun pouring the floors. They've begun packing in some equipment. We saw electrical equipment going in last week. And then out of the blue last week, all of a sudden, there's a giant hole in the ground next to it, and they're putting in the foundations for what appears to be a very large stamping machine. What the news there? So there's two bits of news. One is Q1 to start some degree of production now looks possible. I was saying late Q1, probably more likely in Q2. Q1 is looking more and more possible because that's 4 months from now, 3.5 months. They could absolutely get something going on in 3.5 months. But what this also means with that giant stamping press, it means they're going to be making more of the parts in-house than we had anticipated. Most semi builders just order in the parts and assemble the truck, because if you're only going to make 10, 20, 40,000 a year, can you justify the expense of the giant machine? Look at just the cost of putting in just the foundation for it, let alone having a place to do it and the people, the competencies to get it done. Doesn't always make sense to do it in-house. Tesla's going to be doing more of it in-house.
All right. And so let's get up to date then, because if I remember right, Elon said he would build 40,000 of these in 2026 now. And yet, right? Is that the original?
I mean, I thought it was going to be in 2024, but
Well, that was originally they were going to build that in 2024. Then when they built the new facility and had a year of playing around with Pepsi and whatnot, I thought that they had moved it all the way to 2026 for full production. Or are you now expecting that this ramp you're saying the ramp will start in first quarter roughly and may take the entire year to get to a run rate of 40,000? Would that be something that would more on your calendar?
yes, the bottleneck will become batteries. And I know Elon has said twice, about a year and 1.5 years ago, we are not battery constrained, not for vehicles, not for storage. And while the correct number of batteries exist, having them for the right application is not always the case. And if you're talking, these have almost a megawatt hour of batteries in them. It's like 800 and some. If you're talking that much power times 50,000, all of a sudden you're talking about a lot of batteries. So I think that will become the bottleneck. I'm confident they could make the motors far, far faster than any of the other components. The frames will come off the line as quickly as the machine says so. But batteries are complicated pieces of equipment. And when you need them in that kind of volume, you're talking about more than a few batteries.
So right next door, they're supposed to be building 40 gigawatt hours of batteries from their CATL acquisition. Have we heard anything more about that 40 gigawatt hour potential?
We have not. We have not. But 50,000 trucks, 800 megawatts, 800 kilowatts per truck is about 40 gigawatts, isn't it?
Yes.
So the numbers are getting right there, aren't they?
Yeah.
I don't think the truck will have LFP though, and that equipment is designed for LFP. And I don't think that the LFP batteries would be going into, I don't think they would take put all the LFPs into the passenger cars and then but again, it's tricky. I think a lot of that production would be going into stationary storage, mega packs, power walls, but we'll see.
Okay. All right. And then we have heard reports that Europe is still not up to snuff, that we have China, knocking the doors off in terms of selling way more cars than last year. We've got the United States maybe starting to catch up a little bit. We're hearing a lot of folks talking about long lines at delivery locations and whatnot. We've got Elon ending the 0% financing on the 15th. So there's some evidence that maybe the United States is maybe going to come in okay with regard to shipments in the fourth quarter, but the Europeans seem to be the last of the party. What do you hear over there? What do you think is going to happen?
Well, you just covered the whole world, so I'm going to just take some guesses here. China's numbers, of course, are fantastic. China is all in on EVs, and that makes it easy to do. The government makes it so that charging can happen. If you're building a new apartment, you're putting in charging, period. In the US, not required, not a requirement. Pretty short-sighted, but of course we need our freedoms, and our freedom includes the freedom to not put in charging. So that's fantastic. A little bit less freedom on that front, I don't know. But in Europe, they're saying, oh, EV sales, guys, no one wants them. No one wants them. No one wants the cars that we make at the price we sell them at. Correct. Very dumb. Yeah. It's so weird. People don't want, you told me to have a vegetarian option on the menu by law, and we have this beautiful salad for $300 that no one's buying. Weird how that works. You can't claim failure with a straight face that way. Well, yeah, but the Chinese cars aren't selling well either. Yeah, you put some pretty steep tariffs on them, didn't you? So good job.
Yeah.
Volkswagen is charging ahead. Volkswagen is leading the pack of European automakers for EVs by a lot, and they are actually taking it seriously. They are not taking it as seriously as some would like. Herbert Diess, the former CEO, 2 CEOs ago now, I think, was all in on EVs. He said, we have to make the difficult decision now. And the family that owns Porsche, who owns a controlling stake in Volkswagen, said, nah, we'd like our dividends. We want our little bit of exorbitant, extreme wealth, our outlandish wealth, to persist for a few more years instead of spending that on the R&D that will carry us into the next century. So, humans, a little short-sighted at times.
Yes, but how about Tesla over there? I mean, I guess the subsidies that Germany was giving have either been reduced or eliminated. So people are saying that's the big negative there, since Germany's a major market. What are you seeing? Are you agreeing with Troy and others that the fourth quarter European overall sales will be less than fourth quarter last year?
I haven't seen what Troy posts. He has me blocked. He
Yeah.
has a lot, dozens and dozens of us blocked. Anyone who questions the master's wisdom is blocked, unfortunately. I'd like to see some of his wisdom, but hey, what are you going to do? Europe is a tough market right now. England is not in the EU, so they've got different rules. They can set their own rules. And as such, Chinese EVs are actually selling well in the UK. Something like 1 in 4 EVs sold is Chinese, I think. And for that matter, 1 in 4 cars sold is an EV.
Wow.
So yeah, their adoption is growing quickly because they're not imposing the
Right.
outrageous tariffs that other countries are.
Well, besides, one of the brands is MG, and I mean, if you're English, MG just has a ring to it.
It really does. And they know it's not made in the UK. They know it's not a UK company, but brand affinity is a very real thing. You know that. You've done enough business in your life to understand that there's a reason that company bought the MG brand and is making cars that look anything like an MG and still slapping the retro logo on it. There's value there.
That's right. That's right. All right. So what do you have any theoretical ideas in your head yet about the hitting the magic 515?
It's doable. China's numbers have been strong. I saw this great report that said, "Oh, China's sales have fell off a cliff," and I looked them up. No, they did fine. They did fine. They've been doing fine. They're catching up to last year. They might be just ahead of it, but in other markets, you've got to look at take just if China just holds steady, if Giga Shanghai production just holds steady, Fremont has just held steady, a little probably fewer S and X than last year, but those cars don't sell in any meaningful volume anyway. And then just add on the Cybertruck. Just
Right,
take Cybertruck and slap it on top.
right.
It's a nice little hat that might push you over the edge.
Okay, so the Cybertruck increase might make up for the European decrease, and if the rest of the U.S. Cars stay about the same, and China gets a pop, so could get there.
Could get there. Cybertruck, the is the third best-selling Tesla,
Right,
has sold more units than some companies have in total for their EVs.
right, right. Yes,
That's not nothing.
that's it's meaningful. It's actually beyond not nothing. Yes. Any other stories that you have right now going around in terms of whether it's the
Yes.
okay.
Corpus Christi.
I was gonna I was yeah.
That's where we're going. Corpus Christi is looking good. The plan is to complete the first line, get it operational, and then begin work on the second line to double the output at that point. The building is moving along great. Joe Techmeyer did a video maybe a week or two ago, and he's done only maybe 4 or 5 on this facility, but it looks like it will be done maybe at the end of the first half of next year.
Oh,
The
okay.
the urgency to get it done in a hurry has abated quite a bit because the cost of lithium has fallen.
Right.
So, but there are lithium sourcing requirements in the IRA,
Mhm.
but I don't know if the IRA is going to persist. We don't know if and for how long those credits will be available. And if the IRA is repealed, then there would be, I don't know, there would be no incentives to have domestic production. There would just be penalties for importing it from China.
Right.
You could still import it from anywhere else, but it would create a different playing field, and the use for this facility would be greatly diminished.
Yeah, I'm obviously they're not going to throw it away, tear it down. I think that
They said they would.
Elon said he would tear it down.
No, no, not the facility. I thought you meant the IRA.
Oh, no, 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 no. I was saying I don't think they wouldn't tear down this brand new building and throw out all the work and capital investment there. I think Elon, of course, loves to have local production. He likes to have, as much local capability as possible. He also says that he has a brand new system, a brand new method, chemistry, whatever, for producing this result, which may be less expensive than other ways. There's also, questions in terms of the sourcing of of the raw materials, which this would open up all kinds of potential for sourcing in the United States. And I think you and I have talked about some of these fines, if you will, that have been there all along, but
Hmm.
that all of a sudden become
But no one was looking.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I think it'll still be a great thing. I'm a little surprised that they're not trying to hit their original, timing of the first quarter, but okay, will that'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Well, we've only got, 3.5 months left.
Yes, to the end of the first quarter is absolutely true. Okay, Brian, I think that covered all the stuff that I was looking for today.
Too
Uh,
much. Covered too
Too much.
much. You're
Well,
providing too much value, and I think that shows a disrespect for your audience. I think that what you should be doing is just clickbait. And then when people come in, they find out that we don't, we're not even going to talk today. We're just going to sit here and just think about what we've done.
Brian, I had a funny one the other day. I had a commenter say that my video that went nuts the other day and was clickbait. It said that $10,000 price target for
Mhm.
Tesla was possible. And that sounds like clickbait on the face of it,
Mhm.
but maybe I don't know whether this commenter happened to actually watch the video
I'm going to say they didn't because
because the video
because
because the
you're
video
reporting on what was stated by Kathy Wood, I assume I didn't see your video,
and
but
Elon Musk.
yes.
Elon Musk said 25 trillion just for Optimus.
If I say something outrageous, but it is a direct quote with attribution, I'm not the one being sensational.
Yeah. And besides, I'm not quoting, Joe Schmo. I'm quoting Elon Musk himself, who should know more about Optimus than you, me.
Should. Yeah, I hope so. But I would say about just you generally is that you are sensational.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So kind of you. So kind of you. All right. Because he said that, you should go and go over to his channel and watch his stuff too. And then from time to time, you could even send him a little, a buck or two on his Patreon or possibly on X, or I don't know how many different ways that Brian has now that you can encourage him to do more and more and more. Because he is the hardest working actual street reporter in our trade. That's who Brian is. Absolutely right. Okay, Brian, thank you so much for being on board as always. And to all of you out there, it's been great talking to you.